Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, Serving Nerve, where we talk about whatever we want, and we're going extra spooky scary, not because I don't have a ring light, but because it's, we're on the carnivore antic thing, whatever. We're on tier 3 of the iceberg. Tier 3, part 2, technically part 3 of the carnivore cringe iceberg. And we're going through high meat, which is rotten meat. We already just watched a man, a fine gentleman, dry age through the power of leaving it exposed to the elements. A New York strip, a conventional New York strip, had it completely decimated by maggots, only to, after the fact, eat it after 125 days and wash it down with cow blood and maggot juice and rot. I've lost my appetite. It's 8 o'clock at night at the moment, and there's no way I'm ever going to be eating by the end of this. Definitely could use a drink, though. I might pull one out. We're just going to be going through the high meat. And this is just going to kind of be the ending of tier 3 of the carnivore iceberg. So, let's get into it. Eating rotten meat. First time. This person doesn't even sugarcoat it. I've heard people go like, oh, it's like fermented. Oh, it's fermented. It's high meat. It's like different. This person's just like, dude, it's rotten. It's rotten shit.
I think it did something to me.
That looks pretty tasty. You know what that reminds me of? Like chocolate syrup or something. I'm never gonna be able to eat chocolate again after this. I wasn't even that big of a fan, but now I'm gonna become the enemy. Like, geez Louise. And this is the thing. I have thought to myself, I would love to try to make the high meat experiment just to, like, document what it smells like and whatnot. But my roommate would not allow it. And also, he has dogs, and they'd probably be hella into it. And there's no way I'm gonna be making high meat in this kitchen or this fucking, like, bathroom or anything I've got going on. But if I could, I would love to, like, create it in a contained space and just have a grand understanding of how fucked this really is. And also, I'd love to become a scientist just so that I can measure the bacteria. And then I'd also, like... So, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, why'd you get in white linen? So, what's going on here, little nerve? And why do you have a drink in your hand? Oh, we just had an emergency sink explosion in the apartment, and unfortunately, I bathed, and then the sink was filling out with water, and it squirted, like, water also out of the washing machine, and also out of the fucking electrical socket that's by the washing machine. So I had to run to Walmart, post-disgustment sweaty pop shower, and now I'm sweaty again, so that's great. I got a snake for the sink, and all they had was a fucking plastic snake, and then on top of that, I randomly thought, oh, let's get a water, like, pump, like, let's get a vacuum for water, just in case if this keeps up, and then when I got back, I was like, I need a drink, a cigarette, and a fine lady to sit on my lap, but I know I'm not getting the third one, so instead we're gonna be watching this lady eat fucking rotten meat. And then also, I have to tell you, this week's been fucking terrible, okay? You know, the sub count's been great, somebody subscribed to my Patreon, so I'm happy pops, it's wild and crazy. I didn't think that would happen, ever. I didn't think I would ever get past 400 subscribers either, like, I can't believe it. But anyways, I have to point out, I was stiffed on a $700 tab on Friday night. I opened on Friday and didn't get out until, like, the last table, and I had so many shitty tables that night, and I literally got stiffed on my final table. It was so bad that the managers, even my managers, like, sat me down. One of them gave me a pity tip, and then the other fucking sat me down and was trying to hug me while I was crying. So you know what, this has been a fucked up week, and you know what, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm still gonna fucking work this shit, okay? I swear to God, today we're recording, I got the cut today, I was not fucking doing shit with that, and then the sink exploded. So it's not my lucky weekend, okay? This is not an optimal set of 3 days, in spite of you all being so kind and gracious to me and enjoying the content, okay? But I'm not content with the execution of these past 3 days, okay? So we're gonna get this shit going. Okay, actually, that's a lie, because that Mother concert and me having a cute boy in my arms was pretty fucking hot. But also, like, you know what, I'm just fucking saying, I need a fucking break, so I'm gonna drink this drink, we're gonna get a little kinky, and we're gonna fucking go on hard this shit. And I didn't even make sense there, and that doesn't matter, because I'm hard, and I'm angry, and I'm fucking not constipated, but goddamn, after watching all this shit, I definitely will be. So let's fucking play. Let's fucking play, my people. Let's watch this dame go insane with eating rotten liver from a jar.
And that is what rotten beef liver looks like. It's been sitting in my cupboard for 6 weeks now, So it's about time I try it. Here's my fork. We're gonna open it up.
I like her shirt, that's about it.
Ooh, the smell is just overwhelming.
I love how they still go on about the smell. Like, how the smell is so fucking bad, but they still eat it. Like, every time I see something, it's just so insane. It's like, the things you'll do to narcoticize and compromise your cognition, the things you'll do to get those probiotics by such an exotic means. Like, the things you will do. The things you will fucking do to your body. And honestly, like, I can relate. I can fucking relate. But I'm just saying, this is gross, and we don't like it. We don't like it!
It's hard to describe, really. It's just rotten, decaying flesh.
'Tis putrid, madam. It is truly putrid.
You should try it for yourself.
I don't think I can do that.
Ooh. And why? Why do you even bother? Okay, the whole point is bacteria. So bacteria are good for you. And according to Agenus, they help curing severe depression, constipation, even cancer. So I don't
Love that. Love how we can stop uncontrolled cellular division by eating rotten meat. Love how we can just cure our fucking diseases, apparently, from the words of these people, by eating rotten, decaying flesh that, yeah, have a lot of bacteria, some of which can be dangerous for your health. You know, like E. coli, salmonella, listeria, like, dudes. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, there was another mishap. We're just having a lot of experiences today. A lot of experiences. I'm sorry if you hear the screams of the damned coming from my kitchen. I was gonna do a video making pickles today, too. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry, my good sir, you know who you are. I don't know if I should, like, name names and stuff. I don't know if that's appropriate, who wants that. But, oh, maybe I should do shout-outs from Patreon. I'm so sorry I'm rambling. I literally have no idea what to say. But anyways, I can't even think. Fuck this shit. I don't even want to think. Let's stop thinking tonight. You and me, baby. We'll go all fucking night.
I don't have any of that, but I'm curious to see how it reacts to me. And it's the first time I ever try it. I don't know what to expect. So
I don't understand why people think this is a good idea. You know, you can just take a probiotic if you're really that concerned, but your stomach actually will kill most probiotics, unless they're incredibly venomous bacteria that you probably don't want inside of you. But your stomach is actually meant with a pH to usually kill a lot of probiotics inside of your body. So when you take a probiotic, it's not usually very effective. When you eat a lot of things, outside of certain cultured foods, like, you know, kimchi, sauerkraut, in some arguments, anything with, like, you know, yogurt-wise, like, you know, any kind of probiotics. But a lot of the time, your stomach's gonna actually kill a lot of that bacteria because of its pH. So you would actually want to be taking, in a perfect sense, prebiotics like fibrous materials and stuff like that, which will help grow your own natural microbiome and like gut bacteria and stuff, like, you know, beans, legumes, nuts, seeds, host of things you can get in there that are going to kind of like work the system in a more positive direction, especially if you want to build a healthy gut microbiome. I would recommend being kind of careful if you go from eating like no fiber to eating a ton of fiber, because then you're going to feel like shit. But building into it slowly will help. So I would recommend actually trying to do that kind of thing, and then eating foods that are certified and obvious to improve health. But in a general sense, you do actually get benefits from eating cultured foods. It's quite common, but doing this at home is incredibly dangerous, and you also want to be incredibly careful if you're even doing this with, like, you know, just pickling things.
Get my honest reaction. Let's dive into it, shall we? Maybe a smaller piece.
I love how they're not even fucking, like, lying to the camera. They're like, this is shit. I fucking hate when influencers or people on YouTube and stuff are like, this is so good. Oh, yeah. And in reality, it tastes like ass and nobody fucking likes it, but you're getting paid usually to promote it, or you make money off of the videos that you make, so you're just gonna shill that shit. But these people, the one thing I appreciate from them is a lot of the time, in spite of all the misinformation they give and all the stupid things they say and do, they at least are honest with how they feel about something and how it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and she knows it, and I know it, and you all know it, okay? You all fucking know that shit. But we all know, and they do too, and they even admit to it. So you know what? That takes some balls, alright? This woman has a serious pear on her.
Hold on a minute. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever done on this channel, or maybe in my life. Okay.
Oh my god, the strings of damnation are coming out of her fork. But you know what, again, I really have an appreciation for her, at least being honest with this being the most disgusting thing she's ever done. I don't think I've ever actually... I've eaten a lot of fucked up things. But this is a whole new level, my ladies and gentlemen. This is a whole new level of fuckery.
I mean... Okay, let's do it. Hold on. Okay, I can do it. By the way, I got some lemon here, lemon juice. In case I hate it, I hate the aftertaste, I'll just rinse my mouth with it.
I thought she was gonna be like, I have some tequila here, a little bit of vodka. I'm having some kettle fun, if you get what I'm saying tonight. But like, man. You'd be a pal for mezcal, I bet. Like, if you can handle this, you can handle any kind of liquor. Whatever cheap shit you get at a store, you could handle anything at this point. Don't do any of this. And also, don't drink. It's bad for you. It's bad for your soul, your mind, your body. Jesus Christ. That fucking Friday shift. I'm so sorry I'm going on about my Friday shift, but it made me literally cry. I had a fucking breakdown. And then I had the best fucking Saturday ever. Cute boys, mother concert. That shit was hot. So you know what? I've got to have a fucked up Sunday to compensate. I'll be right back. Okay, my roommate's currently getting drunk while he's trying to fix the sink. So this is gonna be a very naughty night. Hopefully we don't start a fucking fire in this goddamn building by the end of it. The fucking electrical fixture was what scared the fuck out of me, because honestly, if we get like a problem with like the plumbing, it's like, alright, it's water. But if we get a problem with the electric, then it's water plus electricity. That's pretty hot. In a fiery, burning house way, and I really don't want to have to worry about, like, my tech and shit getting exploded. That'd be so awkward. Oh, but that mother concert, boys. So fun. I was thinking of taking my bra off and slingshotting it to them, but then I only have so many bras.
Well, do it.
Do it, baby. Let's go. Woo, woo, woo.
Cannot be that bad, right?
It's only as bad as you make it.
Die from it, right?
Hopefully not. Hopefully you don't.
I'm curious to...
You know what? I have to also interrupt. I don't know why these people have such a fucking immortality complex or think that, like, all bacteria is good bacteria or something. Bacteria can be bad, bro. Like, what are we doing?
See if I'm gonna get high from it, actually. It's supposed to get you somewhat euphoric.
You know what else can do that? A really good night out with a fine gentleman. But no, in a legitimate sense, what is wrong with people trying to, like, get high from indulging in, like, rotting meat and consuming excesses of bacteria that they don't know the repercussions of consuming? It's quite concerning.
Man up. Ugh. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. It's intense. Spicy.
They all say it's spicy. That's so weird. So many people have been saying it's spicy. And they say it's like, oh, it's the bacteria that makes it spicy. That seems kind of dangerous, dude. Like, that means it must be some fucking venomous shit in there. Spicy bacteria. I don't think that's good. Watching these people eat rotten meat is, like, not a fucking vibe. I was even watching some TikToks after watching that guy eat that New York strip, and I was like, oh god, I can't look at these delicious food forms. Right now, no. It's like all I see is fucking maggots right now. It's fucking psychotic.
Alive. You can taste them.
Bacteria? Usually if you're having this much of a reaction, again, to rotting flesh that has been shown to carry potential pathogens, you know, it's best to refrain from the consumption and fermentation of such.
It was quite the experience. And, okay, it's spicy, very rich in taste. I don't know. I've never tried anything like that.
If it's liver, it's probably the fats that were in the liver, especially if it's beef liver. It's probably the fats in there, or maybe like the oils that are getting like gluey and whatever with all the bacteria and shit. I don't know. I'd assume it's something like that. I think fat tends to fester more than be consumed by bacteria. I'm gonna be looking into human decay an animal decay soon, just to kind of understand exactly what the process is that's going down here.
I'm curious to see if I'm actually gonna crave this later, because right now, it made me gag, and whoa. I actually didn't expect it to be that strong. Let's see if I crave it. I'll update you if I crave it. 1 hour has passed since trying the high meat. And I must say, I actually do feel something. I'm not saying I'm high or anything, because I'm not, but like I feel a little more energetic than I would normally feel at this time of the day, of the night, because I'm having dinner right now. And yeah, I think it did something to me. However, I think I made a mistake, because I went for grain-fed liver. So I did the high meat, I fermented it while it was grain-fed, and next time I'm gonna go for grass-fed, because I read somewhere that it really changes the flavor. And
yeah, that's what changes the flavor, not the rate of decomposition. I have to preface this for YouTube's terms of service. Do not do this. And also, for your own psychological, physical, and emotional well-being, don't do this. Listen, there are a lot of ways you can get a little upper at the end of the night. There are tons of ways that are completely, healthy, natural, meditation-oriented, anxiety relief-oriented. Much more healthy for individuals than doing this. Even if you're on fucking carnivore, I'm not even kidding, even if you're on, a cooked carnivore diet, it's still safer than this. And you know what? I mean, when I was watching that guy that was doing that shit to that New York strip, and I'm watching this girl, and I'm, watching, the slow descent into madness, it's, it does remind me of a lot of, internet horror stories that are, kind of fetish-based and stuff. I'm not trying to be weird. I'm not trying to insinuate they have some kind of sexual connotation with these kinds of things. But I'm just saying, on the basis of it being, a weird association with being, ooh, yeah, writhing maggots and stuff in my food, it's a weird, power up in your mind, or it's something that plays on your cognition in such a way that it's bad, and you know it's bad, and it's psychotic, and it's wrong. And your body has visceral reactions to how unright it is. But you still do it because it's almost like a defiance of reality or something. It's just so mind-blowing. It takes a certain level of, being easily influenced and, enthralling yourself in, a weird state of cognition, which is ironic because I'm sure a lot of these individuals would say the same for me and say, oh, I'm easily influenced to think that this isn't good. But, or, to trust a CDC website for, the Center for Disease Control for, pathogens, or, to not play your hand at rotting meat in jars and shit like that. I completely understand that they could look at me the same way I'm looking at them, and we have no mutual agreement. But when I see this, it's so fringe, it's so taboo, it is so wrong, it is so not correct, and there's a reason why it is not correct. There is a reason why it is like this, and there's a reason why it's so concerning, and why I'm being so serious about this, and this being, the dip into the water, the deep dip into the water. This is, the step below. We're definitely at least 6 feet under right now. This is getting close to the dangers of the carnivore diet. You can argue on, a cooked or, a non-cooked carnivore diet, as long as you're not eating raw chicken or anything insane. You can argue, oh, this was how we were meant to eat and all this stuff. But at what point is eating rotten guts, rotten liver, rotten flesh going to benefit you in any capacity as an individual, or perpetuate any level of well-being or health with healthy bacteria when they're not healthy and they're potentially dangerous? And it's the same thing, because this is such a fringe group, it's the same thing with the extreme raw vegan side of things on the vegan community. Because when I was in the vegan community, even raw vegan you can do pretty healthily if you know what you're doing, and you do appropriately supplement with B12 and whatnot. But there's this fringe group of the raw vegan community where it becomes so orthorexic and so unsafe, and every other vegan knows and predominantly denounces that section of the community because it's so fringe, it tends to really only hurt people, and it can actually destroy your entire movement. With vegans it's a movement because it's an ethical belief system. But it's so much like that, and it's so ironic because these people, these two groups continually feud, and yet they are both so similar with the extremism on both sides. So it's absolutely fascinating. I know I'm biased in some capacities, but even I can see the similarities. And on top of that, it's so miscalculated for the individuals who read the forums and then they do this stuff, and they see like, oh, well, I should be like doing this too, and then they do it completely different from somebody else who even promotes it on the forums. So there's no consistency here. I mean, I just watched, I'm sorry I'm going on about this, but I just watched a man eat a rotten piece of grain-fed New York strip that was covered in maggots, and he washed it down with cow's blood. And, you know, I just watched that happen. And I'm looking at this lady, and I'm looking at everybody else in this carnivore movement, and I'm like, this is where you go. This is the depths. Like, we're going down here, bros. And, I mean, it does not get better. I swear to you, next episode is fucking psychotic. Oh my god, it's the exposure of it all. The actual visceral reactions that these individuals have just on the basis of a community more than a case study or a case of an individual or an anecdote. Fermented high meat, a powerful tool to help heal your gut on the raw carnivore diet. So it's people who actually do have like a belief in regards to them being on a carnivore diet and eating rotten meat and thinking that's like healthy for them. How does this stay on YouTube? Oh my god, you know what's so funny? This is Frank Tufano. I have a magical history with Frank Tufano. I've actually talked to him before. I have had many YouTube channels in my day. Many YouTube channels. And, you know, one of those YouTube channels, I actually animated Frank Tufano, and he commented on the video, and it was actually me making an animation of his hair being stronger than his body, and it was fucking hilarious. He picked up an entire house. You know what? Fuck it. I'll just fucking expose the fucking video. At some point, you'll know about the other channels anyways. It's like, it's an inevitability based on, like, my associations on YouTube, but I've had a lot of YouTube channels, over the years. And, you know, I never got, like, deleted or banned or anything like that. I just never really blew up, or I never got into it, or, you know, I had issues with, like, you know, I'd put copyright music over my channel. Like, I had a speed paint channel for my first channel in, like, 2017. Then I had another channel that started in, like, 2018-ish to, like, 2019. But then I panicked because when 2020 hit, COPPA happened, and I deleted it. And it was mostly just like a reaction, like, you know, still cartoon frame, Amberlynn Reed main reaction video. Where I was talking about like fat acceptance a little bit, Amberlynn Reed a little bit, and it didn't really get very far. I got to like a couple hundred subs. It was really inconsistent. Nobody really gave a shit. Sorry I'm going on about this. But people really liked some of the content I produced. So I was like, okay, cool, we'll do this. And also I didn't have a job at the time, so I was like, okay, cool. And then the third one was this animation / documentary style YouTube channel that I still have now and I love. But it will never blow up, so it is what it is. But man, I have to point out, I made an entire documentary on YouTube, like the whole history of YouTube for it, and that documentary took me like a year to make it. I animated to it. It was fucking amazing. Obviously, I moved countries at the time too. I was on hiatus a bit of that. It was a little bit of a mess, but it was so fucking worth it. But on that channel, I put a Frank Tufano animated video, and it was awesome. It was pretty cool. And it was when I was like into being vegan too, so at the time I was also like doing vegan content and stuff. And then I had like concerns that maybe my content was too fringe or something like that, so I took a bunch of that shit down. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera, by the way. But Frank Tufano I have an interesting history with and know a lot of information about. I don't know if he does carnivore anymore. He used to be obsessed with carnivore, and he also used to constantly feud with vegan gains. But I don't mean to antagonize him in any capacity. It's all fun and games, and I'm so sorry I'm going off. But Frank Tufano is an interesting guy, and now he's eating rotten meat. He literally put the video up as eating rotten meat. I can't even be upset about it. He's just being honest.
Chuck rolls in my fridge, and I bought a lot of meat, like 80 pounds of it. So, you know, some of it was sitting in my fridge for like 2 months, and the vacuum seal wasn't too good. And I cut this open. The meat smelled pretty fresh, and then I got a whiff of something really funky, and I smelled it, and it ended up being my hand. Now, I was like, well, the only thing I touched was the fat on the meat, and then I smelled the fat on the meat, and this stuff is like this is rotten fat, essentially. And I was like, you know what? It smells a bit funky and like acidic, so, and I've read countless stories of indigenous people eating rotten meat, and I've eaten rotten fat in the past before.
I have to point this out. It's so ironic that people are like, oh, tribes used to do it. Oh, tribes used to ferment meat. We have a completely different food system now. I mean, this came from, like, I know his sourcing. Like, I do remember he's pretty obsessed with sourcing, like, the most, you know, high-quality meat he can get, at least from what I remember hearing. But, you know, on the basis of it being still exposed to pathogens, still potentially cross-contaminated, having, you know, the potential for E. coli, etc. You know, dude, don't eat it. I know he's gonna, but, like, it's not safe. Just because you've done it once before and not had an issue doesn't mean it's safe. Just because you're, like, going like, oh, it smells a little bit rancid, but I don't know. It's like, it's rancid. Man, it's cringe.
Somewhat unintentionally, but I saw this.
Okay, so he did it unintentionally. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to make assumptions, but now he's doing it by choice.
This is an opportunity for me to record a video of it, and describe the flavor. This bat tastes exactly like a hard-boiled egg. I'm assuming it's the sulfur compound in it. Another good comparison is fish sauce. This tastes a lot like fish sauce. It's not as funky as fish sauce because it hasn't gone as long, but I think fish sauce is right on target.
And yet he continues to eat it. It's just so delusional, dude. Like, fish sauce has a particular flavor, but also, you know, to be fair, if you smell fish sauce or something that smells fishy, you can also find that if you let potatoes rot or you let mushrooms rot, it's a particular fungal smell, and I'm assuming it might have something to do with that. Now, that's just my own assumption, but I don't think that if steak smells fishy, you should eat it. And also, if he's saying it smells sulfurous, that also could be like sulfur-producing bacteria, because certain bacteria can actually produce sulfur and methane. You know when I was talking about rifaximin? Like, bacteria are like bodies. They will consume and they will also release. I've just been on the internet a while, by the way. I do not actually have any like legitimate medical certifications, so I'm just here for I'm here for fun, but I'm also here to get it done, and I'm telling you, my guy, I wouldn't recommend playing your hand at that shit.
And I can kind of see how, you know, the flavors in this might get like more sweety and nutty as time goes on. The only thing I will advocate against is this stuff is like it stinks on your hands, it stinks in your mouth, but it doesn't actually taste bad. It's anything, it's almost as pleasant, if not as good as just regular fresh meat. Now, whether there are any actual nutritional benefits besides from a gut bacterial standpoint, I do not know. You know, I personally don't believe that consuming you know, fermented meat would be essential for your health in any way whatsoever, for any reason. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Like, he's like, I don't know, I just do it. Don't know if it works, but I'm doing it. I'm still eating rotten fat, by the way. You know, I'm just not, you know, saying that there's a benefit.
Personally, I think dry aged meat and funkier beef like this tastes a bit better grilled because you have the strong flavor of the sear to stand up to the funkiness of the meat. Without the sear, this is just pure funk. I think it's too much for most people to enjoy. Like if you've ever had a dry aged steak in a steakhouse and you eat like a piece of it and maybe the butcher didn't trim all of it off and it's like, oh, that piece was a bit too funky. This is like how this whole piece of meat is. Okay guys, so
I have to say this, I've never actually had like steak. And I've never had anything dry aged, so when I think about this, I think like, oh, I don't want that funk, but also like, I'm a punk, so maybe I'd be into it, I don't know. But definitely at least on a cooked basis, like you'd have to give me something at least like medium rare to medium, I think, to make me actually want to put it down.
That beef was a little too funky for me, so I said, you know what, maybe I'm right about it tasting better when it's thrown on the grill, because generally speaking, dry aged flavors stand up to the grill a lot better, but it's still raw on the inside. That's how I like it. So this is nice because you don't have that like overly funkiness that's on the outside of the beef. Plus you have that flavor of the char of the beef standing up to the funkiness. And what's even better is if you have some room temperature egg yolks and you dip it in, that's really good. It adds like a richness and a fattiness to, even though this is Wagyu chuck, it's pretty fatty cut as is. Can never have too much fat, I guess, so.
Your heart would say otherwise, and your bloodstream would probably oppose as well, but who am I to say? You know, I don't have any certifications. I mean, nobody else here seems to either, but I'm just saying, my people, I don't think it's a good idea.
I think the general consensus is, if you want to eat like rotten beef or high meat, and you don't really like it, that you can dip it in a fat source, and it'll taste better. Or take it with a fat source and it'll taste better. Or you could sear it and then that'll pretty much remove any of that excess of rotten taste.
I love how it just cut off right there. Oh, hello. Instead, maybe just don't eat the rotten meat. I don't know if I have to actually explain this, and I don't even think it matters, but it's just like, dudes, your body's not incompetent. It doesn't need 1,000 million things to hold itself up in the wake of its own function. Bodies survive better with less than with more of the shit that they don't need. And honestly, my people, can we not just fucking sit down with ourselves and think like, hey, you know, vegan, non-vegan, carnivore, non-carnivore. out of all the things that you could be, you know, there's a balance. There's a grand balance. And I can't believe I have to be the idiot to explain this, because I'm one of the most unbalanced people around. You know, I'm psychologically like a shit. So, like, we want to find balance as individuals. I know everybody's trying to be healthy, but this is not the way. And we are about to decay our cognitions and our senses of morality in the next video, because that's when we go on to the fucking forums, broskizi. So let's fucking play. And yeah, anyways, that's the video. I'm sorry that this has been a fucking train wreck of a video series so far, but we are about to go even deeper. So yeah, that was the video. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and I'll keep you updated on my sync. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching, my people. I hope y'all enjoyed. Tell me what you think about eating rotten meat in the comments below. Personally, I'm not inclined, but maybe that's just because I've been conditioned by the system to think otherwise. Anyways, tell me what you think in the comments below, my people. I hope y'all enjoyed, and also, thank you so much for subscribing to my Patreon. We will figure out merch soon enough, and we will also party hard and not explode the kitchen again. See you later. Oh yeah, and thank you for subscribing.